97D. Elacheka Amma, the bottom line, very bottom line. Elacheka Amma b'gayva. With the pasuk in Yechezkel that was talking about the measuring stick that was only 5 tvachim versus the measuring stick that was 6 tvachim. So one of the things that was measured for 5 tvachim was the cheka amma. That was the yesod, the foundation of the mizbeach. When we said that we used a measuring stick that was 5, that was talking about for the height, not for the indent. And then amarechav knisa. When we spoke about the seivit, which is the walkway around the mizbeach, we said that we used an amma of 5 tvachim. That was talking about in the width, going in, not the height. So now we've just divided up. Once we divide it up, that the bottom one, the foundation, is talking about the height. The second one that we discussed is the width. So now we're not going to have this cumulative. It won't add up to an amma as we do, because when you go in, it's really 2 ammas, because you go in from your side. So the 2 tvachim, right? Cheka amma is, remember, the mizbeach was 32, right? 32 by 32. So, but really one of those 32 was really only 5 tvachim. So it's really 31.4, because we have the minus. Okay, and then that would be referring to the seivit, which goes in. The other one is going up. We said that the mizbeach going up was 10 ammas. Now we just found out that one of those ammas is only 5 tvachim. So it's really 9 ammas and 5 tvachim. We call it 10 ammas. Okay. Gvul al svasa saviv. When we said that gvul al svasa saviv, we said leish nahachi, leish nahachi. You see, this is where we stopped yesterday. So it didn't matter if you do it this way or that way. If you do it, it means the height or the width. It doesn't matter which way you want to say that the corners are talking about. And the reason for that is because we're never going to add up to a complete amma, because I only have two tvachim going in and 2 tvachim going up. Thank you. So it doesn't. The third one doesn't matter because it's not going to reach 6 tvachim. That's our big deal. If you reach 6 tvachim, then you're an amma up. Then you're an amma up. Okay. So now the Gemara explains what's happening here. So, but basically, we lose 2 tvachim going in from the seivit, and we lose 1 tefach.
That says how many tvachim is it? Amma is.
An amma is always 6 tvachim, except Machlekes Rabbi and Rabbi Huda, ammas of the kalim, according to Rabbi Huda, which are 5, and according to Rabbi no. So the pasuk, we know that there's 3 parts of the mizbeach that are only 5. The question is, does that mean that all kalim, Rabbi Huda's opinion,
right,
or if it's just the mizbeach, and then the mizbeach hazav was 5? Okay. So mizbeach kamahavi. We're going to do some measurements here, like we did yesterday. We're on the very top line of tzadik ches. How big? How tall is the mizbeach? Chamshin v'tamnaya. It would be 58. Why is it 58? 58 is like this. Really, it should be 60, because the mizbeach is 10 amos tall.
60 tvachim.
60 tvachim, and each tefach is 6. Each amma is 6 tvachim. So 10 times 6 is 60. The problem is that we said the yesod was really only 5 tvachim tall, because we said we used 5 tvachim. It's talking about the height. Then we said the corners on the top are only 5 tvachim. So that takes us down 2 tvachim. So we're only 58.
Yeah.
So palga de mizbeach kamahavi. Divide 58 in half. Esther and Betisha is 29. 29 would be the midpoint. Mikanis vad seviv kamahavi.
I thought yesterday was the mizbeach was 54.
Yeah, it could be 54 if we said that from the Yisaid until the Seivev
Right.
was only Amos of 5 Tvachim.
Right.
But we got rid of that. We said, no, that's all Amos of 6 Tvachim. So it's a new day. You have to forget all of that. You have to fast in between it. So, how much is it from the corners until the Seivev? Esrim Mutlasa. Why is it? It says 23. Why? Because the Seivev is 6 Amos up. That means from the Seivev, which is the walkway around the Mizbeach, to the top of the corners, is 4 Amos. Because 6 and 4 is 10. And the whole thing is 10. So 6 Amos up, I need another 4 to get to the top. How many Tvachim are in those 4 Amos? So each Amma is usually 6 Tvachim. So it should be 24. The problem is that one of those Amos, the corner, is only 5 Tvachim. So it's really only 23. So you have 23 Amos from the corner down to the Seivev, and I have 29 Amos from the corner down to the midpoint of the Mizbeach. So I'm missing there 6. Kama batzel apalga the Mizbeach. What's missing to reach the half the Mizbeach? Shita is 6. Utanan, and it was taught in the Mishnah. This is going to work out perfectly. If the blood was sprinkled, it needed to be sprinkled on the upper part of the altar. But the Kohen reached down under his feet, 1 amma, and he sprinkled it, 1 amma under his feet. It's still good. Why? Because it's still not the half point of the Mizbeach. It works out perfectly. It's exactly 1 amma under his feet, which would be the half point of the Mizbeach. Okay. The Gemara says now I'm going to bring you a proof. Because it says in the pasuk, Cheka amma va'ama reichav. You see, notice the change in language. Cheka amma. I don't know what chek means, chest or something. And amma reichav is the width. So because it changes language, obviously one of them is referring to the height and one of them is referring to the width. So, and that's how we resolve this. Shema Mina, we see clearly. Now the Gemara asks, V'kama amma beinis? How much is the average amma? Amma Rabbi Yochanan Shisha Tvachim. Rabbi Yochanan says that it's supposed to be 6 Tvachim. Amma Rabbi Yosi Barav and Afanan Nami Tanina, we were also taught so in the Mishnah. Rabbi Meir Reimer, it's our Mishnah. Rabbi Meir says, HaShulchan Aruch Shnei Masar Barachvei Shisha. The Shulchan is 12 long and 6 wide. Tvachim. But we know what it says in the Torah, that the Shulchan was 2 Amos by 1 Amma. So 12 long, 6 wide. This means that an Amma is 6 Tvachim.
But the question was, how much is Amma Beinis in the Mikdash or in general?
In general.
So how is he bringing proof from the Mikdash?
Where was this quote? Bein Amma Beinis. Did we quote?
No, they asked it before. They were saying that there was Amma Beinis. I'm just assuming that this is a general rule.
Right.
So here, Kama Amma Beinis is talking about the base of Mikdash.
No. You see, what happened was, the original Mishnah said, Reb Meir Reimer, Kol Amma Shayeh B'Mikdash Beininis.
So it's still talking about the base of Mikdash.
It's talking about the Mikdash. Except for these, which are 5 Tvachim.
Right.
We said, how much is a Beininis?
Right,
So
okay.
we say a Beininis is 6 Tvachim. Yeah, we have a Mishnah. The Mishnah proves it because Reb Meir in the Mishnah says that the table was 12 Tvachim by 6. 12 by 6 means that it's a 1 by 2, which is 1 Amma by 2 Ammas. Now the Gemara says, you called it a Beininis. The Beininis means that it's average. Don't confuse me with Tanya. So, Michlal, this implies the Have Amma de Nefishiminei, that there must be an Amma that's larger than this. The Gemara says in, yes. V'hatanan, and it was taught in the Mishnah, Shtei Amma say b'Shushan Abira. There were 2 Ammas in Shushan Abira. Shushan Abira is an area, a gateway in the temple. It was called Shushan Abira. We'll learn about it soon, exactly why, but Shushan Abira is like Sounds like Persia, right? So, but that was the gateway. It had a design of Shushan. Achas, but there were two amas there. Two amas means two measuring sticks. Achas shel keren mizrachis tzfainis, va'achas shel keren mizrachis streimus. One was on the northeast and one was on the southeast side. Shel keren mizrachis tzfainis yisir al shel Moshe chatzi etzba. The one that was on the northeast was larger than the stick of Moshe, the amma of Moshe, not the staff of Moshe, the amma that Moshe used, which was 6 tvachim, a half a etzba. Shal keren mizrachas streimus on the southeast. Haisi yisera alav chatzi etzba was larger than that one, a half a etzba, which means a full etzba. Nimtzas yisera al shel Moshe etzba, which means that it was one etzba, one finger, larger than Moshe's. Okay, so Moshe's amma was 6.
What he used.
Yeah. Moshe's amma was 6.
This wasn't Moshe's amma.
No, it just means that the shulchan was 6 tvachim.
Okay.
That was the shulchan that Moshe measured when he measured the ammas. He needed to be 1 amma, or 6 by 12. So then we had these two measuring sticks. One was a half a etzba larger than Moshe's, and one was half a etzba larger than that, which means a full etzba larger than Moshe's. V'lama amru achas g'dela v'achas k'tana. Why do we say that one is large and one is small? K'dei shiu'im nenait l'mik'tana machzirim b'g'dela. Where did we mention one was big and one was small? Where did we mention? Was that a phrase that we're quoting? No. So you have to change the way you read it. You have to read it ulama. And for what have they said that one is big and one is small? Not why. Lama. It's ulama. And for what did they say that one is big and one is small? Okay, the way this would work would be that if they would measure out for a craftsman materials, they would use the smaller one. And then when he would return whatever the work he did, he would need to return it with the larger one. It means he would have to supply a little bit of material from his own so that it doesn't end up that he ends up using a bit of the temple's materials. So they would measure with the smaller one, and he would, and when it would come to showing what he did, he would have to show it. He would get paid as if it was measured with the larger one, and that way he wouldn't get overcharged the temple.
That's always went.
Right. The Gemara now asks, "V'tarti lamali." So why do we need two measurements there? And we basically now have 3 types of measurements. We have a 6 tvachim, 6 tvachim and a half a finger, and 6 tvachim and a whole finger. Why do you need 3 of them? So the Gemara explains that one of them is the actual measurement, is a 6 tvachim, but the other 2 is chadal kaspa bedava v'chadal binyana. Depends what the craftsman is using. If he's using building materials, then we measure it with a full etzba when he's returning. If he's measuring gold and silver, where's our silversmith? So then it's only a half etzba, right? Why? Because it would be too precious to fill in that's missing. Okay. Tanan Hassam, it's taught in the Mishnah in Midas, Shara Mizrach, the eastern gate, Alav Shushan Abir Atzura.
It's fascinating.
Was a diagram of Shushan Abira. I'm just imagining like round and tops, like they make of Israel. On the copper things they carve in. So okay, my time. Why did they have this diagram on top of the gate of the eastern gate? This is the gate of the mountain. Rav Chisda Rabbi Yitzchak Bar Dimi. There's 2 opinions. Chad Amar Kadei Sheyedu Mehechan Bo. One says so that they should know from where they came. Now,
It was lost. Who said what?
Possibly.
You see that sometimes,
Yeah.
that's what I'm saying.
Right. Possibly. The other option is that Chad Amar would be Rav Chisda because we mentioned his name first. I mentioned Rav Margolius as a sefer that he tries to
But the rules.
to decide based on other sayings. Who says what? Shem Olam, I think it was called. It's a thin sefer. So that they should know from where they came. What's the purpose of that? What if they know from where they came? They came from Babylonia. It's the second temple. Rashi says so that they should give thanks to the king, that he gave them permission to come back.
Didn't we already have a problem with honoring the Shushan king before?
We did have?
I'm saying the story before when we were like so in awe of the king of Shushan.
Here it doesn't seem like that. You're going to see. It doesn't seem like that. It seems that we're supposed to give honor to the king. It doesn't mean we're supposed to eat at his party. But the respect he's supposed to get. So we'll see. The other opinion is so that we should have the fear of the king on them. That means that the king set this up, that you should always remember Shushan, I'm in charge, like put a picture of my capital, so that you should know I'm in charge of your temple, taxes or whatever. Amar Rabbi Yanai. When I saw Rabbeinu Chananel in my other Gemara, they quoted a Rabbeinu Chananel. Let's see if it's over here. No, they don't bring it. Rabbi Yanai says, "Lo'elam te'emas malchus alecha," that you should always have the fear of the country upon you. Shenemar v'yordu kol avedach Eily v'shtach v'leimar. When Moshe came to Pari about Makas Becheres, he says that all your servants are going to come down to me saying, and bow down to me saying, and really it was Pari himself that was going to bow down to Moshe, but he didn't want to say to Pari, you're going to bow down to me. Because you don't say that to a king, even though that's what was going to happen. So you always have to have fear of the king. And instead he said what was going to happen, but he said your servants are going to bow down to me, out of respect. But for himself, which means for Pari, he didn't say he's going to bow down. Rabbi Yochanan says from here, this was by the showdown with the prophets of Baal and Asherah against the prophets of God, Eily versus Achav and his wife. Afterwards, the rain came and it burnt up the fire came down and it burnt up the offering, and it started to rain and they were running because it was a drought for 3 years, and Achav is going back, I guess, for cover or something, and Eily is going to now run. He runs in front of Achav, like a king has someone running in front of him. Eily is now running in front of Achav. So Achav was like this wicked king. So, nevertheless, we see that you have to have respect for the king. There's the Gemara. There's sources that seem to say different. By a wicked king, you don't have to. But apparently, when the people shouted out Hashemu Elokim, so Achav probably was amongst them as well, and this could have been considered a tshuva for Achav. And however, that doesn't answer Pari. He has respect for Pari, even if Pari was clearly not a good king. So anyway, nevertheless, this is a big chiddush. Even though the king isn't a good king, you still have to have respect. Now, by the Shushan, that was a good king who let us come back. It was Koresh, let us come back, and then afterwards it was Arsachshasta, whoever it was, if that's Achashverosh or his son or whatever. Okay. Pasuk says, this is a pasuk in Yecheskel. It says that he sees a stream that's coming out of the temple, out of the eastern gate, and it's getting wider and wider. It's up to his ankles, it's up to his knees, it's up to his waist, and there's trees that are growing on the sides, and they're giving the fruits every month. And it says, in the leaves will be for medicine,
Holistic.
medicinal leaves, herbs. So Rav Chisda, Rabbi Yitzchak bar Abdimi. We mentioned before Rav Chisda and Rabbi Yitzchak bar Abdimi. So we mentioned another thing that they discuss. This is just in conversation. Chad Amar, what's this medicine going to be? One of them says, Lahater Pesha Lamaila, that if someone is mute, he's going to be able to speak. The Chad Amar Lahater Pesha Lamata. Other one says that it's going to heal if the woman was barren, or maybe a man can't have children, so it would heal. They should be able to conceive. Yitzmar. We also have a statement, an earlier statement from Amiraim. Chizkiya malhate pe ilmim, bar kapara malhate pe akaris. You see, trufa has the word pe in it, and so we know that it's coming to heal. Lahatir, the word trufa is hatir peh, tafresh is like the hatir, to like open, to untie. They should be able to conceive, or to be able to speak. So Chizki says it's so a mute can speak, and Bar Kapara says that someone should be able to conceive. Tanu Rabbanan. The rabbis taught in a Bais. This is a very interesting discussion here. What happens is we have two psukim that discuss the showbread. It's at the end of Sefer Vayikra. And what we do is we take these two verses and we delete some words from it, and we say, what would we have thought if without those words? How would it read now?
It's a slow day. It's a slow day. There's nothing to talk about.
So the pasuk actually says, you will take flour and you will bake it into 12 loaves. 2 esrainim would be each loaf. Then the pasuk says, and you will place them on 2 arrangements. 6 per arrangement on the holy table in front of Hashem. So ilu nemar, if it would have said, Balakachta selos, you'll take flour, you'll bake them as to 12 loaves, and you'll put them onto 2 arrangements, 2 piles, and it doesn't tell us that there's 6 per arrangement. I would have said that one of them has 4 and one of them has 8, which also equals 12. That's why the pasuk needs to tell me that it's 6 per arrangement. If it would have said that there's 2 arrangements, 6 per arrangement, but it didn't tell me that there were 12, even though I know that 6 plus 6 is 12. I would have said I would have said that there's 2 arrangements, and then there's 6 per arrangement. That's a third one.
Huh?
So the question is, how do I know that the first 2 are 6? I just know that there's another one that's 6. Somehow it would have been understood that if this one is 6, the first 2 are 6. That's why it has to tell me that there's 12. That there's not 3 piles, 3 rows. If it would have said that there's 12 loaves and there's arrangements, and it didn't say that there's 2 arrangements and there's 6 per arrangement, it would have said that there's 3 arrangements and there's 4 in each, which is also 12, because it says that there's 12. That's why it says there's 2 arrangements of sheish. And there's that's why it says and there's 6 per arrangement. What we're doing here is we're saying that if you wouldn't have said these 3 verses, we wouldn't have understood it. Haketzad. How would we have understood it? Or how is it? How is it now? Haketzad. So how do we do it now that we've taught this to us? You make 2 arrangements. Each one has 6 loaves. If you do one of 4 and one of 8, lo yotza. It's no good. Shtayim shel sheva sheva. What happens if you do 2 arrangements, but each one has 7 instead of 12 loaves? You now have 14. You have an extra loaf on each one. So Rabbi says it's not a problem. You just ignore the top one. It's not part of it. It's fine. It's on the top. What would be what was holy here? Just the first 6, the bottom ones. The Gemara says, 1 second. You're supposed to put the frankincense on top. You can't just ignore it. You have an extra loaf on the top. You don't have the frankincense in the right place. The 2 spoons. So Amalei Rav Chisda Rav Hamnuna. Rav Chisda says to Rav Hamnuna,
He had it before where the olives and salt.
I had it before, and here he's going to use a different verse.
Different verse.
Just thinking. Rav Chisda says to Rav Hamnuna, okay, I have to look something up over here about Rav Chisda and Rav Hamnuna. V'amila Rav Hamnuna le Rav Chisda, and some say that it's Rav Hamnuna to Rav Chisda. Rabbi letamei. Rabbi goes according to his reasoning, to the way he holds. Damar al b'samach, because he holds that the word al doesn't mean on top. Al means next to or near. The Tanya, because it was taught in a brisa. Rabbi says, "V'nasata ala marechas levaynazaka al b'samach," that you will put on the arrangement the frankincense, the pure frankincense. This means not on top, but it means next to. Ata imer al b'samach ein ela al mamish. You say that it means next to, but maybe it means on top. It says that you will cover the aron with the pareichas, and you didn't put the pareichas over the aron, you put the pareichas in front of the aron. So why does it say al v'sakaisa al ha'aron? It means it's telling me that al doesn't mean on top. Al means next to. We didn't have this before. Last time we did Olav Mati Menachem. Now we have a different pasuk. It's interesting. Okay. I didn't say bracha yet, right? It's good. It's good. It has a little. Yeah. That if it's closed, I didn't say a bracha yet.
That's a reminder.
That's your cue.
You know, I like benching from my phone, even though I have a little bench in my pocket. But it when I get to Yalav Yavai, it pops out. It's just very good for me. On Shabbos, it's a problem. Okay, Kol HaKelim Sheba Mikdash. All the vessels in the temple, we said, were Arkan Shel Bais. The length was the length of the house, so they went a long way. Tanur Rabbanan, this was also taught in a brisa. Kol HaKelim Sheba Mikdash, all the vessels that were in the temple, Arkan Shel Bais. The length went along the length of the house. Chutz mi Aron. Except for the Aron, right? We mentioned this. She'arkai l'rachbe shel Bais. That its length was to the width of the house. So this, let's talk about this table right here. The center table would be the length. By the way, the house was 60 amas. The last 20 would be the Kodesh HaKadoshim. We'll put that by Yitzi. And this would be the entrance. It doesn't matter anyway, because you entered from Mizrach. Yeah, so this is actually the way it would be. This would be the west. That would be the Kodesh HaKadoshim. You'd enter from the east side, and you'd come in. There would be 40 amas here, and then another 20 amas behind the wall, or behind the curtain, depending on the first temple or second temple. Okay. Now, the Aron that was down over there in the Holy of Holies would be like Yitz's Gemara, which was spread out the long way. So it was a 2.5 by 1.5, the Aron, right? So the 2.5 would be the long width. The 2.5 would be the length would be along the width. V'kacha yemunach, v'kacha yabad Menachem. So it was placed, and so were its staffs placed. Micah Amar, what are you saying? So it was placed, and so the staffs were placed. Hachi kamen. This is what it means to say. Kacha yemunach. How do you know it was placed like this? That it was the length went along the width. Went along this way, right? This is the width of the house of the Kodesh HaKadoshim. Midabad of Kacha Menachem, because we know where the staffs were. We know the staffs were on the Gemara is going to explain later, but we know the staffs were on. Let's say this is the aron, so this is the length of the aron, which is taking up the width of the house. We know the staffs were on the width of the aron. We know the staffs were here. Not this way. The staffs didn't go along the length. The staffs of the aron went along the width of the aron, which means the staffs went along the length of the house. The bad of minalan. How do you know the staffs were like that? The Tanya, because it says in the Bais. The Bais quotes the pasuk in Menachem. Menachem chapter 8. Menachem chapter 8 discusses the inauguration ceremony that Shlomo Melech does for the temple that he just built, and it says the long prayer. Chapter 8 is the longest prayer in Tanakh. It's like 58 psukim or something. The shortest prayer in Tanakh is Kelna Rafanala, Moshe's prayer for Miriam. The longest prayer in Tanakh is Shlomo Melech's prayer for that the temple should be effective. You know, anyone that prays in the temple should be answered, and all of that. Even the non-Jews and anyone that's not in the temple, but they face towards the temple, their prayer should be accepted. That's that prayer. So over there, it's discussing what the temple looks like. And it says that the badim, the staffs, stretched out, and v'yero, and they were seen. The tips of the badim were seen from the holies, but they were not seen outside. It says, but they were not seen outside. So the Gemara learns this like this: v'yarichu abadim, the staffs were stretched out. Yachal lo yu nagim b'pareichas. Maybe they were stretched out, but they didn't touch the curtain. Talmud v'yiro, they were seen from outside. V'yiro yachal yimakarn b'pareichas v'yitzin. Maybe they should tear through the pareichas, and there would be like a little hole in the pareichas. The staffs would stretch through the hole. V'yitzin. Talmud leimar lo yira achutza, should not be seen outside. Haketzad. How is this? It says, Deichken, ubaltem